Thank you for watching and supporting our efforts to bring you timely and uplifting messages to help you realize the truth of your God-given potential and your soul's purpose. At the end of today's lesson, there is some information that I think you will find helpful. So, from all of us at Unity Life Enrichment Center, here's today's music, lesson, and meditation. See you back here soon.
Get ready, my soul. Everything I've ever done, everything I've ever seen, everything I've lost or won, everything I've ever dreamed has brought me here to this present moment, here to a new beginning here, and I'm seeing light so clearly now. Get ready, my soul. Diving in, get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, get ready, soul. 'Cause here I go, deeper, deeper, deeper than I've ever been before. And here I go, closer, closer, closer to my sacred source. And here I go, deeper, deeper, deeper than I've ever been before. And here I go, closer, closer, closer to my sacred source. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, get ready, my soul. Get ready, my soul. Get ready, my soul.
So let's do a meditation. And close your eyes, take a long, slow, deep breath in, and as you do, Exhale and relax, for this is your time to become centered, to let loose, to let go. And together now let's take in another long, slow, deep breath. This time lift your eyes up towards your eyebrows, holding the stretch as you hold your breath. Hold it, holding the stretch, holding your breath, and exhale and relax. That's it. Let your eyes relax and go wherever they desire. Let your eyes simply relax. That's it. And now together, let's breathe in another full deep breath, moving your eyes towards your right ear as they are closed, creating a little tension in your eyes as you fill your lungs, holding your stretch in your eyes, holding your breath, holding it. Now exhale and relax your eyes. Letting go. Letting go. Breathing normal. Letting go. Take in another long, slow, deep breath, this time moving your eyes down towards your chin, holding the tension, holding the stretch along with your breath as you stretch your eyes, looking towards your chin, creating tension. Hold it, that's it. Hold it a little longer. Now exhale and let your eyes go wherever they want as you exhale and feel a gentle wave of relaxation. A gentle wave of complete peace and tranquility flowing through you. Another deep breath in, this time filling your lungs and moving your eyes towards your left ear, creating a stress in the muscles of your eyes, holding your breath, filling your lungs. Hold it, hold the tension in your eyes, hold the stretch. That's it. And now exhale and relax your eyes, breathing out, letting go, becoming centered. Becoming centered. You are centered. And one final deep, full breath in. And now take in that full, deep breath, filling your lungs, lifting your eyes back up towards your forehead, creating the stretch, holding your breath, holding it to about a count of 5. Hold the breath, hold the tension in your eyes, and now relax and simply surrender. Surrender to the moment. Feel a wave of relaxation expanding from the tiny muscles that control your eyes as you bring your awareness and intention to your eyes. Just let them become softened, quiet, and still. Let them relax, expanding into deeper levels of relaxation. That's it. I'm going to count familiar numbers from 5 to 1, each descending number. You are going to shift and change your state of consciousness. It may happen at the number 4 or 3, or you might wait till the number 2 or 1, but you will shift and change your consciousness to a deeper, healthier, more relaxed level called meditation. 5. Going deeper, letting go, relax. 4. centered, and at ease. 3, 3, 3. 2, deeper and deeper, and 1, drifting deeper and down deeper. 1, centered and still. You feel the relaxation expanding from around your eyes into all the many muscles of your face. Let loose of all expression upon your face. Just sense any tightness in your jaw, letting loose of its grip, surrendering to this wonderfully warm, comfortable wave of relaxation. The wrinkle on the brow disappears, and you let loose of any tightness in the nape of your neck. You feel a wave of relaxation softening your shoulders, traveling down into your biceps, your elbows, forearms, wrists, and hands. And you breathe in and you breathe out, allowing your breathing to move into its own rhythm of relaxation. That's it. A beautiful rhythm. As this relaxing energy travels now into your lungs, filling your lungs as it penetrates down into your heart, as you just notice the quiet yet powerful beat of your heart, beating rhythmically and without effort, pumping life-giving oxygen, filling your heart with love and compassion. And that love and compassion that you feel in your heart is illuminating the blood, energizing the blood, creating a greater healing presence within the bloodstream as you allow this healing energy to circulate through all the many veins and arteries as it travels through the entire torso into all the organs and glands of your digestive system, your respiratory system, your reproduction system. Let this light, this healing presence expand throughout your entire torso. Hear the word love. Think the word love. Feel the magical word love. And ever so gently you return to become the word love. Love is the most powerful force in the universe. And your journey is not to find love, but to become it. And as you become the love that you are, as you become aligned with your soul and spirit, you let the love of the divine not only flow through you, but to become you, to become fully embraced with the you that you are in this physical world, to remember the forgotten love of your soul and spirit. And by remembering, you can reunite and resurrect the love of your spirit and connect more deeply with the essence of the divine, the essence that you've always been connected to, but you can turn the volume down of the ego and the games that it plays so that you can hear more clearly the whispers and the guidance and the magic and miracles ready to precipitate into your world as you remember the love of who you are. There's nothing to find and everything to remember. To create a connection with your soul and spirit, for they are willing and ready. But you must exercise your free will choice to choose to love, to be and to express the love of who you are, the mature love, grounded with intimacy, flowing with self-love and self-esteem, and born of caring and compassion. Feel the love and open your heart to let that love flow. And in your mind, in your imagination, you know that you have resistance to love. It's called the ego. The ego represents easing grace out of your life. The grace that you were born with, the grace of love, for that is who you are. And our ego resists love, separates us from the love so that we can learn to value it, so that we can learn to understand it. And yet we so easily succumb to the fear of losing love. And we often spend our time battling between trying to desperately hold on to and grasp the love and keep it from leaving, so afraid of losing that love. And today you're going to learn how to dance with love, so you never have to be afraid of your fear again, so that you can understand the nature of love's fear and how it can actually lift you to a higher octave. And as you drift into a deep, peaceful, quiet place, slowly now come back into the room, hearing the sound of my voice as we have blended together, connecting in soul and spirit, connecting from beyond. Even though we may be thousands of miles apart, we're here connected in spirit, prepared for today's lesson. To let go and to let God, to let go and to let love guide you, to guide you towards greater trust and trustworthiness. As I count familiar numbers from 1 to 5, coming back into the room, coming back fully and completely. 1, coming up easily and gently. 2, become aware of your body, its position. 3, and ready to return. 4, coming up, becoming aware of your body. Start to wiggle your toes, your fingers, perhaps moving your neck back and forth, your head from right to left, slowly coming back into the room. And 5, 5. Take a deep breath in, filling your lungs with life-giving oxygen and letting yourself return. And welcome back.
Hi, everybody. You know, we really are so blessed.
Welcome, folks. It's Michaiel Patrick Bovenes, the founder of Solutions for Moving Beyond Struggle. Today, we're going to take that love to the next level. And what I mean by taking it to the next level is love's maturity is to trust. You see, we don't just trust people blindly and willy-nilly, just anybody that comes along, I'm going to trust them. No, you trust those who are trustworthy. And in order to attract and create more trustworthy people in your life, you have to become trustworthy yourself. And you have to understand what are the components of trust and trustworthiness. So that is today's challenge, is to mature the love that you know. And as we do, and as we mix together these ingredients from the first week of caring and understanding the nature of love, to then adding into that mixture the intimacy and a foundation of self-esteem upon which to stand. And then from this new position, from this new stance, to open the heart full and wide, to be vulnerable enough to start trusting yourself and trusting others. So I'm going to talk about trust, and I'm going to talk about what we kind of started last week about, the little devil on your shoulder, which is often the ego. And then we have the angel on your shoulder, which is your soul and spirit. It is your connection to the divine, to Mother, Father, God. And we each have that. In the first part of our life, we focus on the ego. We focus on listening to the ego because the ego's purpose is to give you information. Your soul and spirit, your real self, is supposed to decide, what am I going to do with that information? And then your ego is supposed to carry it out. But what happens is we have an overdeveloped ego and an underdeveloped soul and spirit, so to speak, because we are focusing on the outside world. We're focusing on fitting in and belonging and understanding as our soul and spirit is grounded into the physical plane. In each lifetime we come in and we have to try to figure things out. So we need an ego. An ego is not the enemy, but it becomes immature. It becomes destructive when it's left to its own devices. And to realize that it's not your ego that has the power, it's that I have the power. And I can choose to either give that power to my ego, or I can choose to give it to my soul. I can choose, in other words, to function in a world of dominion with my soul, to function from the love and the essence of my spiritual nature, or I can abandon that and just let my ego run the show, which is, an ego is based on fear and doubt and suspicion. There are 7 qualities that make up the ego. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that, hopefully today, if not definitely next week. And that's my goal for you. And love is the bridge that you need to cross. Love is the most fundamental foundation of what is necessary. And I know, and I love it, the synchronicity of today's daily word is to let go and let God. So what does that mean? That means to let go of your ego and let God, your soul and spirit, your connection to God, or, as I like to define it, let love, because God is love. Let love guide you forward. So let go of the ego's fears and doubts and embrace the love. So, love is so much more than just a feeling. It's so much more than an emotion. It's so much more than just an experience that two intimate people experience together. Love is a state of mind. It's a consciousness. It is an awareness. And it is the way you function in your life. And there's an architectural term that says form follows function. And I love that term. What does that mean? Form, meaning the physical reality, follows function. And when an architect is designing a home, they want to make sure that the function of the way the home flows and it fits together fits into the formation of the actual architectural structure. So form follows function, and function is something that is the challenge of the spiritual person. The spiritual path is to shift and lift from functioning from our ego, especially the immature ego, and to begin functioning from the love of your being, the love of your soul and spirit. And most people don't know the difference. How do I know when I'm functioning from my soul or when I'm functioning from my ego, from the devil on my shoulder or the angel on my shoulder? Well, here are 7 characteristics to help you understand. The ego, one of the characteristics or the criteria to know, am I in my ego right now? The first one is, am I guarded? Am I being guarded? Do I have a wall up? Am I being overly cautious when I don't need to? Am I being afraid through putting up this guard, putting up this wall? People live their whole lives behind that wall, being guarded. The second one is, am I blaming? Am I blaming people? Am I blaming experiences? Am I blaming coronavirus? Am I blaming everything for why my life isn't working? The ego loves to blame rather than take responsibility. And the blame is the second component of whether I'm functioning in my ego or not. The third one that's so important is deceit. Am I being deceitful? What does that mean? Deceitful doesn't necessarily mean I'm trying to be manipulative and controlling through my deceit. But when somebody says to you, and let's say you're having a really bad day and somebody says to you, how are you doing? And it's a close friend and you say, oh, I'm fine. And you're not being honest, that's deceitful. Instead of, and again, there are certain circumstances, timing, the person you're talking to, where you don't want to elaborate and go into those details. But if you have to pretend you're something that you're not, you're being deceitful, you're trying to hold up your... So the next step of knowing, am I in my ego or not, is am I beyond deceitful, is am I being stubborn? Does it have to be my way? I'm not open to change. I'm not open to doing things differently. And I'm stubborn and hey, it's always worked fine with me. Michaiel, you're talking about all these things I got to think about love. I'm just going to go back to what I used to do for love. I'm going to just go back to martyring myself and struggling and seeing, and not really expecting much from love because that's too much to think about. I'm stubborn. I want to go back to the old ways. I don't want to open my mind to a new way. And once you open your mind, once you know of different ways of functioning, once you're conscious of what love really is, it's really hard to go back and do the old thing. Because then I'm really not being loving. I'm being martyred or struggling or entitled or suffering and sacrificing and calling it love. And many people think that's what unconditional love is, and that's not the case at all. I'm going to touch into unconditional love next week. But for today, the fourth component and the most determined is stubbornness. The fifth component is judgment, to be judgmental. Am I judging myself? Am I judging other people? Am I judging my feelings? Am I shoving my feelings down and judging them because I'm not supposed to feel angry? I'm a spiritual person, so I'm going to judge my anger. Or I'm trying to be a positive person. There's a paradox of positive thinking. To be positive, I have to ignore all my hurt and my disappointment and my fear. No, I need to embrace it. I need to turn the love of who I am towards those fears, towards that anger, and to be honest with myself, going back up to the previous step. The ego functions with deceit. The soul functions out of honesty. And I'm going to go through the angel's qualities and characteristics in just a moment. But for now, the stubbornness, step 4, the judgmentalness. Am I judging myself? Because judgments always produce pain. They always hurt. And hear this, even the ones that are never spoken. You know what I'm talking about. Have you ever felt judged by somebody and you can feel it? Like this wall comes up You're having a conversation and all of a sudden they mentally have a judgment towards you, and you can feel a shift in the separation between the two of you. You can feel the guardedness and that wall coming up from that other person when they shut down, and that's what judgments do. It's very destructive. The sixth component is, am I being selfish? Am I being selfish? Am I always thinking about me? Self-centered and self-important. Well, yeah, okay, I'm in a relationship and I know that they had a bad day, but my day was really bad. Everything goes back to me. I'm more important than anyone else. I'm self-centered. I'm selfish. That's a major clue that you're functioning in your ego. And then seventhly and finally is arrogance. Arrogance. And arrogance is, and this is something that I teach in classes that I don't usually go into in short classes like this, but there's a flip side to the coin of arrogance. People think of arrogance as, oh yeah, they're being arrogant, they're superior, they're better than, they're so much more than everybody else. And that is what the most common face of arrogance is, but it has two sides to the same coin, like the heads and the tails. So the flip side of arrogance is not just feeling better than and superior, but it's feeling less than and inferior. I'm a nobody. I don't matter. My opinions don't count. I'm this weak, powerless, no good sinner. That's arrogance. Because you see, you are a child of the divine. The Mother, Father, God created you and breathed life into you, giving you a soul and a spirit with all the wisdom and all the intuition and all the creativity and all the passion you need to live a fulfilled, loving, joyful life. And your ego saying, they're wrong. I'm worthless. I don't deserve. I'm nobody. That's arrogance. To tell God that the product he made called you is worthless? Who are you to say that? Says the ego, right? The ego's like, well, I think I'm better than everybody, or I'm nobody, I'm less than. It's still arrogance. Because the truth is everyone is unique and everyone is different. And we're here to explore that and to bring that uniqueness of God into the world, to share this sacred experience that we're all here and in together. So those are the 7 components of knowing the clues of whether I'm in my ego. Am I being guarded? Am I being arrogant? Am I blaming? Am I being judgmental? Am I focused on being deceitful all the time? Or am I stubborn, always digging in my heels and doing things the way I've always done it in the past? Those are the clues and the characteristics of what that defines the devil on your shoulder. Because truly it is the ego that is the Antichrist. Christ is all about love and forgiveness. That's what love does. And the ego is against that. It's about revenge. It's about proving yourself. It's about being better than and superior. It's about dominating and manipulating and controlling to be safe, because the ego doesn't feel safe. Because the ego feels it's not good enough. And guess what? It's right. It is not enough. Your ego will never be enough until you choose to function and give your power to your soul and spirit. And it's that light of soul and spirit. It's the light and the beauty and the breadth and the energy of that divine presence of who you are that can turn and seek to understand your ego and heal it and mature it so that you can start to trust your own ego. Instead of always trying to figure out what it's up to and what it's doing, you can start to learn to develop a rapport and understand the ego and mature it into a place where it can become a liaison once again, functioning in harmony with you and your soul and spirit. And so the first one that corresponds to the being guarded, this first one is being vulnerable, being willing to be vulnerable. To be vulnerable, and again, similar to arrogance, has 2 faces to that same coin. People think of vulnerability as, let me show the world my underbelly. Let me show them where they can had, where I can be had, where I can be manipulated, where I can be controlled, my weakness. Let me expose my weakness. And that's what it means to be vulnerable. And yes, that is true. It is part of vulnerability. But what you're more afraid of is also the vulnerability of exposing your power and your strength and your beauty and your goodness and your divinity. That takes vulnerability. For the artist who pours their soul and their heart onto canvas, creating this work of art, and then to take it down to a gallery and hang it up for the public to love and to celebrate and to criticize and to judge. That takes vulnerability to expose their beauty and their strength, because not everyone's going to get it. And that's part of living in this world of difference and uniqueness. And so it takes tremendous vulnerability to expose the beauty and the strength of who you are. And that's so important. So the first step is, am I willing to be vulnerable? Am I willing to stand in my power? Am I willing to own my majesty as a spiritual being and the wisdom that is within me? Or do I discount it? Oh no, it's no big thing. I had this hunch, I had this gut feeling, but I discount it. I play it down. I devalue myself rather than owning my power as a being that is connected to the divine, as an offspring of the divine. So to let go, to let God, means to let go of this ego and to embrace your soul and spirit. And the second quality, the second characteristic is responsibility. And these are the same characteristic of functioning with self-esteem, is my ability and willingness to respond. I'm not going to go into a lot of details, I did last week, but that's what responsibility is. It makes up, am I going to be responsible versus blaming, which is what the ego loves to do. The ego's second clue is, am I blaming or am I taking responsibility? And when the more you can take responsibility in your life, the greater freedom and the greater power you have. Because blame never accomplishes anything. The third characteristic is that corresponding with deceit is honesty. To be honest. To be able to tell the truth. And to be vulnerable enough to tell the truth. And that is the third component. The fourth component of the soul and spirit, when you can know whether I'm functioning out of my soul and spirit versus my ego, is to know, do I have a willingness to change, a willingness to forgive? Because that's where all change comes from. A willingness to forgive versus the stubbornness of the ego that digs in its heels and says, well, I've never done that. I don't want to do that. It's too scary. It's too unpredictable. I don't know how to figure out how to forgive others. So I'm just going to go back and blame. I'm going to go back and be revengeful. I'm going to go back and get them, an eye for an eye, all that good stuff. That never works. So the component that is so important, the fourth component corresponding to the ego's stubbornness, is a willingness to change, a willingness to grow, a willingness to learn about love. Maybe even going back and rewatching the videos of these last several weeks to understand the nature of love and to deepen it, to have that willingness to expand and to grow and to stretch. So willingness begins with the willingness, first of all, the willingness to be honest. Third component, the willingness to be responsible. The second component, the willingness to be vulnerable. So willingness is the power, the component that is so important in functioning from your soul and spirit. The fifth component is that of compassion versus that of the judgmental ego. The fifth component of the ego is being judgmental. Compassion is is a level of caring where you open your heart, and it's always being born of having known sorrow. Having experienced sorrow and pain, I can take a level of caring to a deeper level of healing. And when I can express my compassion, I open my heart, and guess what happens? I replace the judgment with discernment. When your heart is open, you can discern and evaluate, think and feel, and consciously decide without judging. You see, judgments don't do that. Judgments are a black and white, I don't evaluate, I don't think, I don't feel. All women are. You're a woman, slap a label, push you away. All men are. Slap a label, push you away. All whatever is a judgment, and it lacks the evaluation, the thinking, the feeling, and the appraisal of what's going on in front of you. It's a quick ego's hit of power, but it's also the ego's laziness to not think about this person that could possibly change your mind. A judgment of my emotions is a way, if you slap a judgment on it, to separate yourself from the experience. I'd hate to admit I'm a spiritual person. I'm not supposed to ever get angry because spiritual person never get angry. That's my judgment. And every time I feel anger, I shove it down and try to separate myself from experiencing the feeling. And when you can realize, if I'm going into judgment, stop and ask yourself, what am I afraid to feel? What am I afraid to feel? And that's so important to look at. The sixth component is that of generosity. To be generous, to be open and generous with other people, generous with your love, generous with your kindness, generous with your insights, your information, helping people and genuinely enjoying the joy of giving love. For love is its own reward. When you are a loving person, it feels good. It feels so good to do that. It's its own reward. You don't have to keep track of, okay, are they going to be loving back to me right away? So corresponding to the sixth component of being selfish and self-centered and egotistical is to be generous with others. And then finally, to serve others, as opposed to being arrogant. Arrogance, by the way, is a lack of compassion. It's a lack of compassion. And so to function by serving others. Am I serving others after, hear this, after I've taken good care of myself, after my own needs are met? I'm not going to throw all my needs away and take care of others only. That's out of balance, and that's not what I'm talking about. Serving others after you've taken care and you are in a place of power and of strength. And you take care of your needs and the needs of others. You trust yourself and you trust others. You become intimate, like we talked about last week, developing self-esteem, becoming intimate with yourself, and then you learn to be intimate with others. You love yourself and then you love others. When you love others and not yourself, you are not loving. You are martyring and struggling and suffering. And that's what, unfortunately, we've been taught and conditioned from the time we were very little, is the martyrhood of what love is supposed to be. And often people even have elevated martyrhood to a place of unconditional love. See how loving I am? You can spit in my face, you can kick me in the heels, you can push me around, you can manipulate and control me, and I'm just going to be loving, and I'm going to be sweet, and I'm going to be kind. That's martyrhood. That's not love. You're not demonstrating anything, because the truth of the matter is, when you are functioning from the love of your soul and spirit, and I want you to hear this, unconditional love is not an emotion. It's a reality that you create, where when you are functioning with unconditional love, you would never attract somebody who would kick you or spit in your face or manipulate or control you. You would create a reality where there's nothing to do but love. It is a state of being. It is functioning in a world of dominion, which is what the angel on your shoulder, the characteristics, the clues of whether I'm functioning from a place of vulnerability, of responsibility, of honesty, of willingness to change. Am I opening up to deeper levels of compassion so I can discern versus judging? Am I generous? And am I serving others from that position of empowered strength? So let's talk about, how do I begin to trust myself? How, Michaiel, will I learn to trust myself? Well, trust is love's maturity. It evolves into trust. You don't trust immediately. You learn to trust. You trust those who have proven that they are trustworthy. And you can trust yourself, but there are 4 criteria that are necessary for it to be a condition where you need to apply trust or not. Some people try to trust things that aren't an issue of trust. When you try to trust something that's not an issue of trust, you always end up in self-sabotage. But there are 4 criteria to being a person who is, to functioning and understanding that this is an issue of trust. The first of the 4 criteria is that it has to be a future event, meaning it hasn't happened yet, something out in the future. That needs to be something that hasn't happened in the future. That's the first criteria. It has to have both a potential negative and a potential positive outcome. There needs to be both a positive and a potential negative outcome. And the third criteria is that the negative outcome has to be more damaging, more destructive than the positive outcome is positive. I'll explain that in a minute. And then the fourth and final criteria is that you have to honestly expect the positive to happen. So an issue of trust involves that. And let's say that you want to trust a friend to tell them this secret that it's so vital and so vulnerable, and if they tell anybody else, you will be devastated. You'll be like so embarrassed. It'll be so horrible if they go around, and you're trusting them to keep this a secret. So let's look at that. Is it got a positive and negative potential in the future? Yes. Has it happened yet? No. It's something that they could do. They could, any time in the future, they could reveal your confidence. So it's out in the future. It has a potential and negative, positive and negative potential. They could keep it. They could keep the secret, or they could share it with everybody. The third one is the negative more damaging than the positive is positive? And that's the difference here. If they keep the secret, and they don't share with anybody, life goes on as it always has, right? Nobody's going to know about it. And you're not going to be, embarrassed or vulnerable or whatever confidence you reveal to them that you don't want others to know about. So life goes on as it was. But if they do tell other people, it'd be so much more destructive, right? Your life would be in shambles, let's say. So that is an issue of trust. And you have to honestly expect the person to keep the secret. You can't say, okay, I'm going to tell you a secret, and I know this person hasn't, the minute I tell them, the whole world's going to know. They're going to be posting it on Facebook for that matter. Then that's not an issue of trust, because you don't honestly expect them to keep the secret. That is an important final quality. But when people say that I'm going to trust that I'm going to win the lottery this weekend, and I'm going to trust I'm going to get the right numbers in meditation, I'm going to trust this. So, is that an issue of trust? No, it isn't. It's an issue of gambling. See, is there a positive and negative potential? Yeah. I could invest this $1 or $2 and win millions. That's a positive and negative potential. It hasn't happened yet? No, it's in the future. I haven't got the results yet. Is the positive less positive than the negative is negative? No. Because if you invest $2 and you don't win, you lost $2. But if you win with $2, you get millions of dollars. So the positive is so much more positive than the negative is negative. So therefore, it's not an issue of trust. And do you honestly expect yourself to win? So those are some of the criteria. And people try to trust themselves with the lottery. It's not an issue of trust. It's an issue of gambling, taking a chance. And so I just wanted to point that out to help you understand whether you're trusting situations that are trustworthy or not. Do I need to trust this, or is this not really a situation of trust? So to develop trustworthiness, the first step we talked in detail last week, is I need to become a trustworthy person. So I need to have a solid foundation of self-esteem with those 4 components we went into last week. I need to understand, what is my ego's games? What is my ego's games specifically? Meaning, okay, when I talked a little bit ago about the ego likes to be arrogant. Know your ego's games. What does it do to trip you up? What is your arrogance? What is your better than? Write this out, do an exercise in journaling. What makes me better than other people? And be honest with yourself. Write out, what is your better than that your ego has tried to convince you is true. And then also write, what is your less than? Because in order to know your enemy, which is the ego, the immature ego, I need to understand how it operates. And for instance, I'll give you a good example. When I would get close and be vulnerable in a conversation with somebody in the past, this goes back several years, I noticed that my ego would try to finish their sentences for them. They'd be talking, we'd have a conversation, and I'd be like trying to jump ahead and fill in and tell them the words they're about to say. And I realized, why am I doing that? Because I was uncomfortable. I was trying to control the conversation, which is what the ego likes to do, to be in control. And when a friend of mine brought it to my attention, I realized, yeah, this is something that I don't feel good about doing, but I was doing it. And now, if I find myself in a conversation and I start going there, instead of going into control, I stop and say, okay, let me trust and let me let go and open up and listen and be vulnerable, which is the first step to the soul and spirit, rather than being guarded and trying to control by, putting words into people's mouths. So that is one of my ego's old games that it used to play. And when I'm conscious of it, I can change it. But if I'm not conscious of it, I'm going to keep doing it. So it's important to know the enemy, to know the ego, to understand how it functions, and to know your ego's games as well. So there are 7 ego games that I want to talk about that are the most common. First one is the arrogance we've already talked about. Look at, what is my arrogance? What makes me better than? What makes me less than? Be conscious of that. The second is apathy. Apathy is a lack of caring. In the places in the world that are the most apathetic are the most destructive, where people don't care anymore. Apathy breeds violence. So be honest with yourself and don't let yourself go into apathy. The third is blame. We've already talked about blame, when you find yourself blaming. The fourth is control. The ego loves to be in control, like I just demonstrated with my story about trying to finish people's sentences when I'm in these really intimate conversations and I'm feeling a little bit vulnerable. I start to control the words coming out of people's mouths, and it's like, wait a second, that's because a part of me is reacting and responding. Now that I'm aware of it, if I get that kind of urge to do that, I can stop myself, interrupt it, and go back to being vulnerable and listening and hearing and having humility. which is so much more important. So that is the fourth component of the ego's games. The fifth one is repressing your feelings, denying your emotions. And there's really basically two types of emotions. There are expansive emotions, love, joy, peace, happiness, and there is constrictive emotions, pain, fear, guilt, shame. And they breathe. They are there to guide you. And the more you can understand and release the repressed emotions, the more powerful you become. Because then you can function from that emotion of love, that state of being love. And it's only through love that you can understand your emotions. It's only through love that you can embrace and transform your emotional nature. And understanding if I'm repressing my emotions, which the ego loves to do, and that is another hint and clue of your ego's games. I'll deal with my feelings later, and I'll just try to be positive or try to be this or whatever. The sixth component is that of manipulation. People that like to manipulate, to try to get people to do what they want by manipulating, bending the truth, being dishonest, telling stories, making up stuff about people, all this stuff. That is what manipulation is. That is another game that the ego loves to manipulate rather than the honesty and the truthfulness. And a person of self-esteem doesn't do that. The final and seventh component are the fear patterns. Now, let's talk about the fear patterns. There's basically the fear of abandonment, betrayal, rejection, and humiliation. Those are the four common fear patterns that we as humans experience, because fear is there to guide us and to teach us as well. And I want to talk now a little bit about, not so much about those four fear patterns, but about the relationship between love and fear, because this is the key where you can begin to trust yourself, is when you can start to have dominion over the fear that you experience. So what do I mean by that? This is what I mean. Love has, in the physical world, outside of time and space, in the spiritual dimensions, love is just all that is. It's everything. But in the world of duality, love creates its own shadow. It needs a polar opposite, which is the fear of losing it. That's what love's fear is the fear of loss, of separation. And that love's fear of loss and separation is the shadow of love. And it's always going to be there as long as you're physical. And I bought into it, and I thought, yes, until I got this insight and this guidance about the nature of love and fear and how they work together to create a synergy, to create what is valuable in our lives. And I'm going to explain that in a minute. So there's a relationship between love and fear. The more you love someone, the more you love something, the fear of losing it increases. And when you can know that, when you can be aware of that, you can start to trust yourself to make a decision. Say, yeah, it's natural for me to feel vulnerable and to be suddenly more afraid of losing this love. Now, I have a choice when this happens. I can either let my ego make the decision, which says, okay, well, hey, I might lose this love. I'm afraid. Let me just shut down the love. Let me just keep the love where it has been. Let's not expand the love greater. Let's not love more deeply, more greatly, because what if I lose it? It's going to hurt even more. That's the ego. But instead, when you can make the decision that I'm going to stand in the love and face my fear, what does that mean? I'm going to stand in the light of love. And I'm going to face my fear. What does love do? It pays attention to detail. It's one of the characteristics of what love does. Love pays attention to detail. Secondly, love seeks to understand. Let me seek to understand my fear. As long as you're human, and as long as you're on the physical plane, fear is going to be part of the equation. Why? Well, love is the motivation. Love speeds you up. Love is the accelerator, and fear are the brakes. Slows you down, pay attention, don't go too fast around that corner, you might crash. You need both to operate. You need love and fear to get through life. Fear is not bad. Any real emotion has a positive and negative potential, and fear has been given the rap that it's all negative. No, it isn't. It's protected you. You wouldn't have made it this far in life without fear. You would have probably ran out into the street as a kid and got hit by a car. As I can stand in love, I can let fear have its role without being afraid of fear. And hear that. When I stand in love, when I function from dominion, when I function from my soul and spirit, I don't have to be afraid of my fear anymore. I can develop a new relationship to it. And here's how the relationship works. It'll be there. And when you can expect it and know it, it doesn't blind swipe you. You know, yeah, I'm going to love this person more than I ever imagined I would be capable of. And I'm going to experience some fear of losing them. Why? Fear provides value and worth. Fear deepens love by making it more meaningful and more valuable. You see, the lack of fear would be that, oh, we all love and we're all from the light and we're all spiritual. It doesn't matter if my partner dies. It doesn't matter if my friends leave. It doesn't matter if they, hey, love is all it is. I'm not afraid of anything. No, fear says they matter to me. They are valuable to me in my life, and I want them to be in my life, and I value them in my life, and that's why I'm afraid of losing them. And I'd rather be a person who understands that and functions from love, knowing that fear is part of the equation. And when I can face the fear, and the only way to face your fear is in love. When you step into the fear, you avoid love. You shove it down, you repress it, you deny it, you do everything but love. You martyr yourself, you struggle, you suffer in order to have a substitute for love, but it's not love. But when you can stand in the love and understand the fear transforms into deeper value, meaning, and significance. And that is the purpose of the relationship and the synergy between love and fear. So it's not about getting rid of your fear. It's not judging yourself that you have fear. It's like, hey, it's part of the game. It's part of the place that I'm in right now, being human and being physical, and it's gonna be here. Instead of me pretending or ignoring it and being sideswiped by it every time it comes up, I can expect it the more I love someone or something, and I can deepen the value and stand in the love and seek to understand the fear. And out of the 4 fear patterns, the fear of rejection holds a missing ingredient to love. And that missing ingredient to love is acceptance. Because the fear pattern in your childhood, the fear of rejection, you often have held yourself back from accepting yourself. And the antidote to that fear of rejection is self-acceptance and accepting others. The antidote to the fear of betrayal is trust. Because of the betrayal of my past, of trusting people who I thought had my back, close family members, whoever, and they didn't, and that trust got broken, it was painful, and it inhibited my ability to trust. And the fear of betrayal, when I can bring the light of love into it to seek to understand it at the core, is a level of trust. And that's the gift and the magic and the miracles trapped inside of that fear pattern. The fear of humiliation, because of being humiliated as a child, of being embarrassed, something happened and I got tremendously humiliated, has locked up in my heart my ability to feel compassion for myself. To have understanding and compassion for myself and others is often what's trapped inside of my fear of humiliation. And when I can stand in love and face the fear, I can unlock deeper levels of compassion, deeper levels of understanding. And likewise, with my fear of abandonment, I can deepen a level of commitment, to commit to myself rather than to abandon myself. And how many people, they have good intentions, and I go buy this new exercise regime and I spend all this money on these vitamins, and yet I don't. I take them for a few days and I stop taking them. I abandon myself. And it's that commitment that abandonment has often robbed, and the loyalty and the commitment tied into that fear of abandonment, and that you can retrieve when you stand in the love, and that will open you up to greater magic and miracles in your life. I can retrieve it, transform it, and function, and know that the challenge that has been locked up in my fear is my ability to trust myself and to trust others, and I can retrieve that energy and create greater magic and miracles in my life. So that's the nature of fear and love. And to be able to stand in the love is the spiritual challenge, to choose love, to let go and let go and to let God. That is today's daily word, to let go of my ego and my fears, to let go of my stubbornness, to let go of my dishonesty and deceit, to let go of my blaming, to let go of my arrogance, and to let God, to let love. What is love? To be vulnerable, to be honest, to be responsible, to be compassionate, to be willing to change, to be generous, to serve others. That's what the love is. So today's daily word, letting go of the ego. It doesn't say that, but letting go of the ego and let God, let love, let the soul and spirit, which is the God within you, guide you on your journey on this beautiful day, on this 21st day of February. And so that's today's service, and I hope you've got some value from it. And I'm on Facebook. If you'd like to follow me on Facebook, I'm at Solutions Soul, S-O-U-L, Solutions for Moving Beyond Struggle. And I hope you follow me, join me on there. I do lots of videos, give lots of information, and I have some upcoming smaller classes that you can dive into. I'm going to be releasing very shortly a class on how to make trustworthy decisions. And that's going to be a very popular class because I know people right now are really afraid of the future and making the wrong decision. So I leave that with you. Thank you so much for joining me this third week of February. And let go and let God, let love guide you throughout the week. And I'll see you next week on February 28th to conclude with the magic and miracles of opening your heart to receive greater love in your life.
Welcome back. We affirm today's lesson helps you realize your soul's purpose and your dreams. Now, here are a few bits of information you may find helpful while I'm away recovering. First of all, concerning in-house services. We are not holding in-house services at this time. Now, rest assured that the board meets regularly, and when guided to reopen the building, you will be informed through all of our various informational resources. During this time, we will continue our Sunday service online on both our Facebook page. That address is www.facebook.com/Unity Sebring. Again, for our Facebook page, www.facebook.com/Unity Sebring, and on our website. And that address is www.unityofsebring.org. Again, our website address is www.unityofsebring.org. Now, concerning Sunday speakers, we have lined up some really awesome ministers and great guest speakers to present service until I return. Information concerning classes and support group meetings. Currently, there is only one class meeting and 2 support groups. Monday night yoga, 5:30 p.m., where social distancing is required. Masks are not required during class, but wearing one entering and exiting the building is required. Candlelight AA meetings are held on Sunday at 4 o'clock p.m. and again Wednesday at 6 o'clock p.m. Both require social distancing and mask wearing. Now just note, refreshments are not going to be served at this time, but if you wish, you may bring something with you, provided you clean up after yourself. Now, in regards to communicating with us for prayer support, you know that prayer is the heart and soul of our work. We invite you to continue sending us your requests. Your prayer team members in Silent Unity are waiting. Now, here are some ways to submit your requests. You may email us or call us. Our email address is unitysebring@gmail.com. Our email address is unitysebring@gmail.com. Now, you may also call and leave your request on our answering system. Our office number is 863-471-1122. Again, our office number is 863-471-1122. Now, if you are in need of one-on-one prayer, I suggest you call Silent Unity. And their numbers are 1-800-669-7727 or 1-816-6 969-2000. Let me repeat that. The phone numbers for Silent Unity are as follows. 1-800-669-7727. Or you may call 1-816-969-2000. There is someone there 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, who will lovingly pray with you directly. Now, if you need to talk or have some questions, you may either email us, again at our email address, unitySebring@gmail.com, or you may phone the office. Again, that number is 863-471-1122. And someone will get back to you as soon as possible, just to let you know that Tina checks for messages every day. And will get back to you as soon as she can. But also know it may take a bit for a response. Personally, we are asking that you refrain calling our home at this time, and I think you understand. Now, we want to thank you for your financial support. We are so grateful for your ongoing tithes, gifts, and offerings. You see, they ensure we can continue bringing you all the services we provide at this time and in the future. If you wish to support us financially, you may physically send your tithe, gift, and offering and make it out to Unity and send to our mailing address. And here it is, 10417 South Orange Blossom Boulevard, Sebring, Florida 33879. Again, make your gift out to Unity and send it to 10417 South Orange Blossom Boulevard, Sebring, Florida 33875. Now, we've also tried to make it easy for you to give through either of these two websites. If you are watching on our website, that's unityofsebring.org, right below this lesson, you will find a link to PayPal, which is connected directly to our ministry. If you are watching on Facebook, in the comments section below, you will find a PayPal link that you can use that connects connected to this ministry as well. Lastly, and most importantly, words just cannot express how much we appreciate your willingness to join us and walk with us in this part of our journey together. We will keep you updated as best we can. And I so look forward to the adventure ahead, not only just for me, but for all of us. Please, please, please know that we love and bless you always, and knowing that the best is yet to be. We'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.